So, someone asked me if I could make a video where I'm talking about my first experience of awakening and Kensho. Now, I want to be totally honest with you. To me, what's the definition of awakening and what's the definition of Kensho? Who's there to tell me what a Kensho is? Who's there to tell me what an awakening is? It's almost as if Kensho and awakening are certain terms that we use to describe a certain experience, and then the master, whoever the master is, decides what the experience is, and then he tells the students, if you have this experience, you have had an experience of Kensho or awakening. I never had a master that could tell me, okay, you've had an awakening or a Kensho. But I can speak from my experience. I can tell you what my subjective experience was of what I would like to call awakening. So I don't know the definition of, what is the official, I don't know the official term or the official definition of awakening or Kensho. But I can tell you about my subjective experience of what I like to call personally awakening. And it was when I was, I was always invested in meditation because I grew up in a family where, my grandma and mother were always a little bit spiritual, and my grandma taught me about meditation, so I started meditating when I was pretty young, maybe even like 12 years old. I started meditating, but I'm not totally sure. But I do know that when I was 17 to 18 years old, I really had a time where I was really invested in meditation and I knew how to let go deeply. And I did not, the practice was simply to fall into my feelings so that they can actually relax. So I'm not running away from my feelings. I'm actually relaxing into them so that I start to get a sense of love that is not dependent on anything on the outside. And the second thing is I stopped identifying with thoughts. And when I was meditating like that, I sort of gained access to a dimension that was like an escape from this reality. It wasn't an escape like a drug or anything, but when I was in this other dimension, it was filling me up with a certain energy. It filled up my battery so that I was more happy and efficient in this world. And that's what I call my awakening. That was like, it's almost as if sometimes when I started my meditations, I was seeing the earth in front of me. I was seeing all the people that are close to me, that are normally attached to me, and I just saw them going away into the darkness. It's almost as if I'm just shedding off all the attachments and I just go into the void, and it's just like total, for the ego it's like death. But in the real experiences, it's a complete dissolution into love. You see? So it's like I'm dying from this world, but in actuality it's just my soul being arriving at home. And that's what it feels like. It's like I'm letting go of all the tensions that the world is giving me, and there's just total relaxation and total warmth and total let go, right? And I was able to access this dimension not just one time a day. Of course, I was going deep into it like for an hour a day, but I was always connected with it. So that's what I call my awakening, because when you meditate like that, the body starts to produce a certain chemical called, let me use the right word, anandamide. You can research that in Google. Ananda or Ananda is the term that some Indians use to describe a certain state of blissfulness. And scientists have found out that there is actually it's not just some spiritual thing. It's actually based on real proof. It exists. It's a chemical, anandamide. So the body, and it's also it's a chemical, it's a cannabis chemical actually that the body itself can produce. So because I was entering this state of blissfulness every day, my body was producing cannabis by itself, just from within. This happiness coming from within. Therefore, I was able to like do everything, just like work and hanging out with friends and just relax or just be or watch it. And I was totally high all the time, because of Ananda. This is anandamide. You see? That's what I call the awakened state, to be honest. It's like, and it happened when I was 18, and it happened just the way I described it to you. I was totally letting go, was no longer identifying with thoughts, so it was just like dying. But then, after that, some things went bad in my life, so I don't know if it was like in my soul plan or whatever, but I kind of wanted to or had to or whatever, it doesn't matter why it happened, but it happened, that I was experiencing some negative stuff also. Like, what does it feel like to have heartbreak? What does it feel like to have bad friends, bad influence? You know, what does it feel like to try some substances and abuse them and all that stuff? And I was totally disconnected from that bliss state. At some point, I didn't want that lifestyle anymore, which is why I had to like cut off all contact with these people and stop taking those substances. And I wanted to go back into my so-called spiritual life because it's just what my soul was yearning for. And as I was entering this spiritual life, I was creating this YouTube channel just to like talk about it because it's what I like to do. Yeah. And that's like my awakening happened when I was 18 years old, and then so I lost connection with the awakened state, but now I'm back, you know. Yeah, that's basically it. That's the video.